We're in a situation where we've got to make some decisions that are uncomfortable, where we do know that employees will be affected by this, but we also know that we would much rather see employees affected by one day than us having to tell large groups of people that they can no longer report to work because we can't afford to pay them.
We got an issue in 2015 that's going to take what I think I've been called for and called to do, and that's to make the important reforming decisions that sets our city's trajectory in the right place.
I don't know a mayor who has sat in this seat who would be as flexible as I have been, who would sit here and allow you to talk to my CAO like he was your son the other day. I don't know a mayor who would give you access and an opportunity to call my people on their cell phones when clearly, statutorily, you cannot do that, and give them directives. I don't know one. So when I hear that kind of stuff, it says to me two things. You really don't know what it's like to work in that situation, so you can't even make a clear judgment on the restraints that you have or don't have. Number two, it says that there's a possibility that you want to control more than you need to control. And in this regard, I don't come on your side of the street. I don't tell you what to legislate. I don't tell you how to run the clerk's office. I never call anybody in that, of all your 22 clerks that you're telling me that you want to keep, that you've added, that you're telling me that because of the brevity that they bring and the depth that they bring, that you don't want to see them cut, but you want to take my directors through a drill and search to find out who's worth keeping, who should be realigned, where they should go. So all I'm saying is that I'm functioning and operating in the functionality that has been given through statute. So are you. I'll never tell you how to do your job, and I will never allow you to tell me how to do mine.
Last year we came into the 2015 budget cycle understanding that we would have a $14 million deficit. We were able to cover that with the fund balance, but we knew that coming into the FY16 year, which we projected and talked to council about, we wouldn't be able to do that because our fund balance had been almost exhausted to the degree that we wouldn't be able to do that again. And so we started to talk out loud about what are the kinds of things that we needed to do in order to be sure that we could save our workforce to ensure that we wouldn't be in a situation where we had to lay people off. And so we put forward several different options. A couple of those options, of course, included what was being talked about a great deal, and that was a furlough. For me, during a furlough, people losing 8 hours of work a month made much more sense than us telling somebody that they had to go home. As a matter of fact, we've calculated that in order to do what we needed to do, that it will probably take about 165 jobs. So think about the ripple effect of that. You think about the 165 jobs that are gone. These are people who now can't spend money in the city. These are people who can't pay for daycare. These are people now who can't buy basic personal things. And typically we're talking about people who are taking care of more than themselves. So when we look at what's the downfall to proposing a plan or a budget that does not include a furlough at this point, for us, it just made perfect sense. Then there's a conversation where we propose a tax increase. People are saying the 8% tax increase, it's a 5 mil tax increase, when the reality is that voters were represented by a council who voted for a 5 mil increase in the 2014 budget. We've already done it. We've already seen that increase. Last year, our administration came in and we reduced it. We gave the citizens $5 million back. And what we're saying is that we needed that back this year in order to make a difference in the lives of our citizens, and also to make a difference in saving the city. We also looked at other cost-saving measures that we know. We've implemented the new clinic for our employees and for their dependents, where we'll be able to save about $1.5 million. Our employees will be able to save money, keep money in their pockets by not having to pay that copay or not having to pay that costly deductible that they're typically paying. So it works out. Not only that, we've also looked at how do we restructure some of our debt and make sure that we are paying for debt and we're getting a better bang for our buck. So this, the furlough and the tax increase, those are not the only two things that we talked about. We talked about a myriad of things, put those options in front of council, and now they've got the opportunity to try to see if those are the options that they want to go with. When we start talking all this stuff about we're saving people and we're saving folks from paying taxes, the real conversation is, are you saving them from a different kind of apparel? Are you saving them for a different kind of apparel? That's the question that's got to be asked. I appreciate the council's input. We think that they've got some great solutions that they put forth. We think that there are some long-term things that they've put forth that we are considering and have already been considering. But we've got to really, really look at this from the standpoint, again, that 165 people, that's a lot of jobs to be lost. We're working right now hand in hand with our financial advisor, our municipal advisor, along with our Department of Finance to put together a long-range plan, implement that long-range plan. So we're not having this conversation again in 5 years. No, this budget cycle is not it. It's going to be painful. We understand that, but we also understand that if people in this city are serious about seeing Jackson do better, they have to be serious about the kind of leadership that they trust to do it. They got to be serious about understanding that the leadership that they trust to do it is leadership that's more concerned with doing the right thing versus doing what's popular, what gets likes on Facebook and Instagram and all of those other areas that are used for propaganda's sake. 9 times out of 10, you would have known some of the people who would have lost their job. And I want you to just consider yourself. If there's someone who has the power in his or her hands to determine whether it's you or whether it's a relative or someone you know, whether they lose 8 hours or whether they get to leave a job with no benefits, only the potential for unemployment, whether or not we return to a millage that we were already paying 2 years ago, or whether we don't return to that millage and we risk seeing people not have jobs and not have opportunities. If you're that person who could be affected by that, I think you want leadership that understands the plight of everyday people. I think you'd understand leadership who is taking in consideration what the domino effect of this, all the way down to the woman who has seen not just a millage increase in 2014, but also she saw her water rate increase. She saw her sewer rate increase. And now we're possibly going to be putting her out of a job. And for me, that's not an option.